What's up, basement dwellers? Welcome to another edition of the Jersey Phanatics. I'm your host, Chris the Dace Man, joined as always with my co-host, Erik Barezzo.
Where the hell is Tyler?
Still on assignment, as far as I know. And obviously, he's moving as fast as the Phillies are this offseason. So,
yeah, that's a very slow-moving operation.
Yeah, so the winter meetings are in the book. I hope you enjoyed our last couple episodes that were Phanatic focuses, where we talked about Jimmy Rollins, Cole Hamels, his pretty penis, and I want to just throw this out there. When we were doing the Cole Hamels episode, you and I had said, hey, he needs to do some more work with the city and kind of get back into favor a little bit, maybe doing like broadcasting. And they announced the day before it aired that he was joining the broadcast team. So we called that almost 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah, the Jersey Phanatics know everything.
Yeah, so if you go back and listen to our show, yes, the world has been on fire, okay? So we told you like it is, you just don't listen. Called at the beginning of 2024, they were going to step down another rung and get eliminated around early. We called that. We told you Hamels and his pretty dick are joining the Phillies broadcast team. Just, maybe we know a thing or two.
As we called the drones taking over New Jersey. We called that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, we're doing way better than 94.1.
100% on that.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to cancel them, and it's been enjoyable.
Shots fucking fired, although we couldn't go on there because we say fuck way too much. But
for sure,
you can just not listen to them because who the fuck listens to live radio anyway? Everybody, I don't. Even when I listen to live radio, it's on the iHeartRadio app because
it's always hot takes anyway. It's always hot takes blowing smoke up your ass when it doesn't make sense.
It's all like, hey, what's a good clickbait headline? Juan Soto to the Phillies, which did not happen. So that was something that happened in our hiatus. So we're going to talk all free agency movements that happened in this 2 or 3 weeks we've been gone. Just to kind of close out 2024. We didn't want to give you another Phanatics focus because we are, as a programming note, going on break for the holidays. Episodes drop on Wednesday here at BPP. So obviously Wednesday's Christmas and then New Year's Day. Go enjoy the holidays. Don't think about the Phillies. Trust me, they're not thinking about you as they make zero moves. But we wanted to talk about what happened so far in the offseason.
Whoa, hold on.
What's that?
They are making moves. It's
they
for the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. They are going to be stacked. All right? They are going out to get every single broken down player possible, and they're signing to a minor league deal, and they may come back throwing 100 miles an hour like the guy you just talked about before we started recording. He may come back and throw 100, and he's going to look amazing. Well, you're not going to see him next year, probably the year after.
Oh, we're going to build them up and trade them. Or let them go to free agency after the rebound year, because that's what we do. We rehabilitate players and send them for better contracts. Craig Kimbrell, Kyle Gibson, Jeff Hoffman, all out there, all rehabilitated by the Phillies. So either we're sending you the retirement home or we're sending you to free agency where you won't come back. We don't get any home deals on this shit.
Either way, it's happening. Hey, Jose Alvarado looks skinnier, all right? He's rehabbing.
Yeah, and Bohm bulked up, and now all offseason we've been trying to get rid of his ass.
And then Thompson comes out and says, we're not trying to trade him. Ignore those rumors. It's fine. And then literally that same day, we tried to trade him to the Astros for Tucker and Valdez. And they're like, no.
We're not shopping you, but you are literally in every deal we've tried to broker.
Every single one. And they said no. Then they went to the White Sox and were like, hey, we'll give you Bohm for Crochet. How's that sound? No. Hey, A's, I know you need a third baseman. We'll give you Bohm for Rooker and Mason Miller, your best closer. Absolutely not. Yeah, just think about it. You're the A's. But they're doing more than us.
So the question I guess we could pose is, because that's 3 free agents that we missed out on. Crochet went to Boston. Tucker went to the Cubs. Bellinger just went to the Yankees today. Not that he was kind of on our radar. Williams went to Devin Williams from the Brewers. Where did he go?
He went to the Yankees too.
Yeah. So all these trades are happening, and we have made inquiries into these trades. And they don't come to Philly. So what is all the teams seeing in Alec Bohm that at least I don't understand, because he's an all-star this year, consistent player up until the last month, and again, we still don't know why.
After that, it was the whiny baby after the All-Star game, and his stats went down. But he was also injured. He injured his hand right before the All-Star game, or I think it was right after, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And his stats not plummeted, but they dropped off pretty significantly. Like, he was on the injured list for a good bit, but his stats went down.
But he's consistent. He's improved year over year. There's no signs that like 2024 or 25 is going to be a bad year for him, except for the fact that maybe morale's a little bit of a hit since he's being shopped but not shopped. He's still bad at what, 296, 290 something? Like, he was in the 290s. He was a consistent third baseman. He's not the best third baseman when it comes to Gold Glove, but he's not the worst. I don't understand why people. Well, I understand. Everybody's shooting for the fucking moon, especially the White Sox. The White Sox want your entire team to come over to Chicago because they're stressing, I'm going to rebuild for cheap. But the Astros didn't make sense.
Even the Red Sox, when they traded for Crochet, it wasn't some massive prospects. They were a little bit better than what we're trying to give, and I understand that, but it wasn't like you could have gave them one more prospect instead of adding Ada Miller or Mick Abel or Crawford in there. Like, you could have added more.
Do you think that's the problem, that all these teams we talk to, that, hey, Bohm's a good player, Castellanos has been involved in almost every trade, Miller popped up in some of them, Crawford's popped up in some of them, Abel's popped up in some of the Hawks. Is it because we have shielded Painter? Like, teams are like, no, we're going to keep telling you no until you put Painter on the table.
It has to be something along that line. It's just because they see the writing on the wall of getting rid of Schwarber in a couple of years, getting rid of Casty in a couple of years, getting rid of JT Realmuto in a couple of years. So you have to replace all that production, and you have that in your minors right now. Like, you have that with Crawford, you have that with Miller, you have that with Eduardo Tate, you have that with Mick Abel and Andrew Painter. So you have that core five technically, and that's the only value that you really have. You don't really have much to go on in the rest of your minors unless you're going down to your double A and your single A, and that's where I don't want to say better, but that's where some pretty high talent is. And they're not other teams are not wanting that. They want MLB ready players, and that's your top 5 players that we're not willing to get rid of.
Yeah. I think a big thing that people miss out too is like, oh, the Phillies aren't doing anything. Phillies aren't making any moves. We did make one. We signed a theoretical closer in Romero from the Blue Jays. He's part of our rehabilitation process, so we should be the Philly rehab.
After he got cut.
Yeah, and we offered more than what he would have made had he not been cut. So we gave him a raise. It can be a win-win situation for us. I mean, if he has that bounce back year that people like Hoffman has had, fantastic. We won in that deal for getting him cheap because he was a stellar closer. But you also run the risk that maybe he runs out of gas. Maybe he Kimbrels us in the fucking playoffs. Maybe he Noah Syndergaards us, where like we got him at the halfway mark and ran out of gas. That seems to be the problem with a lot of these acquisitions or people we bank on, is they just don't have longevity.
But like, for some reason, nobody is thinking of Casty as having any value at all. And I don't know if it's because of the contract, if he's not living up to that contract, and that's why. Like, it's a massive contract. But
if you look at that contract, and sorry to interrupt you, he's owed $20 million each year for the next 2 years?
Yes.
Who are you going to get cheaper?
Oh, I know. There's no way that's given his production at that salary. Like even like you said before, like we could potentially sign Santander. Okay. He's probably going to be at least $15 million a year. Like, he's going to be close to that, and Casty, I believe, is better than him.
Mm-hmm. He's got a
So
track record. Sure, he started up late last year. He was an all-star the year before, and everybody has that first-year slump in Philly for some fucking reason. But he didn't do bad that first year. Like, he still was consistent. He wasn't 306 or whatever he did the year before, which nobody ever is. Because
yeah,
you're going to play the best you fucking can your contract year to get a contract, and he did it.
mm-hmm.
The only beef I have with him is he cut his fucking hair this past week.
Yeah.
He killed some of the swag.
Cut it all off too. It's not
Yeah.
even like trimmed it down to like my length. He went full buzz cut.
It could be back in a few months, though. Maybe he grows like a Wookiee. He's got a little bit of Cuban blood in him, doesn't he? He's got Miami blood.
Yeah, you don't know what they're doing down there.
But to your point, Casty, $20 million might be a little steep, but for like the Astros or like, I can see the White Sox not really wanting that contract because the White Sox are being cheap as fuck. They just want prospects and like your best prospects. So if you're not putting your best prospects up for any of their fucking players, they're just ignoring you.
But even if you go to the A's and you say, hey, we'll trade you Casty for, I don't know, let's say for some reason they're an idiot and want Casty for Mason Miller straight up. Obviously, that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sake of this argument, they're like, you know what? We want some money back. Okay, we'll give you $5 million with Casty on top of it. There you go. That takes care of that. Just like what the Cubs did for the Yankees today with Bellinger.
Yeah, they're eating some of the contract.
They gave him $5 million to go with Cody Bellinger. And the reason why they did that is because the Blue Jays wanted him too. But so they drove up the asking price. So they didn't have to like give up the $20 million. They only had to give up like $5 million.
So the thing also I don't get, like I get trying to shop Bohm. Realistically, you've made the point on several of our episodes. Nobody remembers the third baseman from the 2008 World Series team. And Sosa, I think, could make a decent third baseman if we needed him to be. Or Weston Wilson. Like, one of those guys could fill that position, and eventually Aiden Miller, which you're on that hype train. I get trading him. But what I don't get is the Castellanos trades when you're specifically saying that your outfield is weak. You're looking for a better center field, and your left field would still potentially be platooned. Yeah. So, and you want to go and get rid of your right fielder?
And that's kind of what they said today, like with the trade of Cody Bellinger going to the Yankees. They're like, there was like a meme that said, all right, now let's look at the Phillies. Cody is going to play center field. We really don't have a center fielder unless you want to just say Rojas is our center fielder. And then, like you said, we're platooning our left field or vice versa. We're platooning with our center fielder. Mm-hmm. So either way, you have Rojas as your ninth hitter and Marsh as your eighth hitter. Cody Bellinger was a former MVP. Cody Bellinger is only 29 years old. Like, why wouldn't you do that deal if you can somehow make that work? Like, the dude that they sent him back to the Cubs wasn't that good. Like, he's a good player, but I think any of our players in the minors would be better than him. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if Dave Dombrowski and Sam Fold are just seeing the writing on the wall. Like I said, that we're going to be losing all these players in a couple years. So you're trying to keep everyone. But if your main goal is to win right now, you have to do everything right now. Bryce Harper is already older. You know, he's going to be out of his prime soon. He hasn't even played a full season, really.
Some would argue he's already out of his prime.
Yeah.
Like you said, he hasn't played a full season. This was his first full... No, he didn't play a full season this year. He missed 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's going to be consistent across the board. 2 weeks is probably the best season he's going to put going forward. It's just still crazy to me that, like, we know we don't need, but we would like another starter. Our bullpen, I do think is kind of sturdy. We probably need one more arm. Would have been nice to be Hoffman or Estevez. I'm sure you can piecemeal together some of the scraps and just kind of see what happens from spring training. But the outfield was the glaring problem. And right now, our opening day roster would be Marsh in left, Rojas in center, Casty in right. And you were actively trying to trade Casty, and in some instances, not even for a fucking other outfielder.
No.
Like, I got the Tucker deal a little bit, but you were also swapping one for one. Actually, you weren't swapping one for one. You were losing Bohm too. So you got one bat for two consistent bats. And I don't follow Tucker's stats, but there's no way his production is going to make up for the lack of Bohm and Casty. Like, can Tucker protect Bryce in the 5-hole?
I think he could, but it's who's going to protect him after that? Yeah. Because you're already saying that JT is not an everyday player anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you just came out and said that. Like, and they didn't officially, but the beat reporters did.
And you're not taking Schwarber out of leadoff, which is fucking stupid. Your roster's in shambles. You have an all-star roster, but you don't use the all-star roster like you should.
No, because like you said so many times before, that everyone is controlling where they're at. Like, Bryce Harper is your 3-hole hitter, he's not moving. Schwarber is your 1-hole hitter, he's not moving. Trey Turner is the only one that you constantly jerk around, plus everyone else. Like, everyone else is on a rotating basis, but the only two people that are on the roster that kind of should be adjusted, I don't really like. Schwarber's not a leadoff. No matter what you do about it. Like, congratulations, you got all those home runs, but they're all solo home runs. It would be fantastic if that was in the 4-hole.
You can't sit there and brag about this power this man has and talk about, dear God, how he hit that and things like that and be, all right, you're going to stay in leadoff. No, fuck that. I don't care if he swings and misses. Like Ryan Howard. We just did a retrospective on him. Put Schwarber in the 4-hole. Just do it. Like, okay, you have not won a World Series with him in leadoff. I don't want to hear your fucking strategies that he has to be in leadoff because the team plays better. Really? Because they didn't win a World Series yet. If you
could you imagine if they had Ryan Howard as your leadoff hitter?
I would never have gotten into baseball.
That's what Schwarber is. He's Ryan Howard, but in the leadoff hitter. Like, that makes no sense.
But can't field. At least Ryan played first.
He couldn't field at first.
Have you seen the plays with Schwarber at first?
Oh, I know.
But like, imagine a lineup, and I know we've stressed this, but your leadoff is Trey. Your 2-hole hitter is Casty. Your 3-hole hitter is Bryce, and your 4-hole hitter is Schwarber. And then 5 is JT. 6 is 6, 7, 8, 9. You do whatever Bohm, Stop, Marsh, and Rojas you want to do with it. At that point, I don't fucking care, because our top 5 is stacked. You should be terrified of the top 5.
You shouldn't really care after that 6-hole. That 7, 8, and 9. They're like, hey, they got a hit. Congratulations.
Yeah, and that's really discrediting what Bohm, Stott, and Marsh have done and can do and usually consistently do. Like, I know Stott and Marsh had down years, but they were still high 200s, better than some of our all-stars, especially for the pricing. And Rojas, as much as we shit on him, streaky as hell, defensively good. Okay, you're not, like Larry Bowa said at the beginning of last season, if we're worrying about how our 9-hole hitter is, we got a fucking problem.
Yeah. Exactly, and we have a fucking problem.
Yeah, so let's just say we roll into opening day and we're playing back the same roster that played the NLDS. If you go in with the same lineup without trying something new, what the fuck are you doing? Like, okay, let's say you have the pieces. Move them around. They're clearly not in the right position.
With the 3 wild cards, you're almost guaranteed to make the playoffs.
Yeah, so what do you got to lose?
Yeah, so saying that the Phillies aren't going to make the playoffs is just asinine. They're going to make the playoffs because you have 3 wild cards. Mm-hmm. So that is completely off the board. What are you going to do when you get in there? You're going to be eliminated in the first round again? Yay!
You won the fucking division and lost in the first round. That's fucking Okay, Braves. This is what you just did. You got done to you what you just did the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So at that point, and I don't want to hear like, oh, well, Kyle does better statistically. Like, the team wins more ways at leadoff. Yeah, if you never fucking move him and you're increasing your wins year over year, yeah, you're going to do better with him at leadoff. But I guarantee if he played fourth, he probably had the same fucking record, if not better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So just try it, especially since you want to give the excuse the man doesn't warm up till June. Fuck it. Try it in April. See what happens.
And Harper ended up getting the most off-speed pitches in his whole entire career this year because they knew that they had nobody behind him to protect him. They didn't have to throw him a fastball.
Why would you? And same with Casty. And Casty made the comment, and it was a very passive-aggressive comment, but I get it, and probably why he played very well on the Reds, because he was the guy. Like, they're going to throw him garbage because the guy behind him is in a slump. And because they positioned Casty where he wasn't he was like a 6 or 7 hole hitter, and basically Topper would put behind him the guy who was in a slump, and it's like the guy who swings at everything is going to swing at everything, and then you know what? We'll go get the next guy out too because he's not a fucking threat.
Oh yeah, for sure. So like you said, it didn't help that Stott had a down year, but apparently that came out in this, I think the past week or the week and a half, whatever it's been, that he was hurt majority of the year and that never came out the whole entire year. Like, dude, if you're hurt, fucking sit, man. Like, I don't understand it. Like,
especially when you got Sosa, who was Sosa was playing better than him.
Yeah, and no matter what, like I said, you're gonna make the playoffs. So if your ultimate goal is to win a World Series, fucking sit.
I could kind of see Stott's logic is he didn't want to get Kingried. Could you imagine if he came up and said, "Hey, I'm injured," and then Sosa comes in, lights up the world, and now Stott's coming off the bench, and then he can't find his swag again?
I don't think that would have happened though. Like, just Stott was basically anointed the next Chase Utley, so I don't think Kingery was ever anointed that.
Fair, but I just mean jerking him around where, like, I mean, the outfield's getting jerked around. Brandon Marsh could probably be a really good player if he got to play every day.
Yeah,
you don't get better by sitting.
There's no reason why he shouldn't have played against left-handers, like none whatsoever.
I think his average was better against left-handers.
Yes, it was so much better, and everyone kept saying that. They're like, he was hitting like 304 against lefties and like 265 against righties, and he would sit against a lefty, and you're like, the fuck is going on?
I think the crazier, like, we don't know what we're gonna get coming in 20. Like, this off season's been pretty like, fuck are we doing? And I know they just extended Topper, and I don't want to jump on it's his fault yet, but it's really feeling like his fault at this point.
It's either him, or it has to be a combination of him.
Dombrowski
and Dombrowski, and plus the analytics department that are saying this is the better way to win a game. And bro, it's not working. Like, it's you want a shitload of games. Yes, that part is working. But if your ultimate goal is to win a World Series, you have to do something different. You need runs. And that in order to win the World Series, you normally have to play small ball, especially in our environment, because our environment is freezing come the end of October and November. The ball's not flying.
You got to play small ball, and when you're playing small ball, you don't want the heaviest guy leading off.
No.
Like, okay, maybe not even the heaviest guy, the worst runner, per se.
But you have all these other teams right now that are just going full bore, and even you look at the goddamn Athletics, and they signed 2 big players too. So
yeah, but I feel like they fucked up. Just because they're the Athletics, like Severino.
Oh, I tend to agree, but at least they're going out there and spending money for the first time ever. But somebody said that there's sort of a minimum cap that the MLBPA has implemented.
Like, you got to go fucking do something?
Yeah, and they weren't anywhere close to it.
I could see that. I could 100% see that. So
Yeah.
let's take a look at some of the free agency movements that happened, and we'll just stick to the National League, National League East. So the Braves, their notable acquisition so far is they signed a 1-year deal to Brian De La Cruz. Notable subtractions: they lost Jorge Solier in a trade to the Angels. Travis d'Arnaud signed with the Angels, and the big hit to them is Max Fried went and signed with the Yankees.
And I think his contract just became official today.
Which I don't think he's worth that. I think as soon as he signed that, or at least got the rumors dropped, I'd message you like, "Who the fuck we're gonna beat up on now?"
Like it was insane. 8 years, $218 million is a massive contract for him. Like he was a good player, but like that's a lot of freaking money.
Especially for what he's probably a third starter there.
Yeah,
because you got Cole, Rendon, him. I don't know who else.
You even got Gil. Gil was their rookie of the year.
Yeah, so you spent that much on Max Fried? I don't know what the fuck you were thinking.
And they traded away Nasty Nestor.
So yeah, that might have been a plus for the Yankees. So the Braves do have a couple free agents that are, well, actually, couple is an understatement. Right-handed pitcher John Brebbia, Griff Canning, Jesse Chavez, they're free agents. Adam Duvall, their outfield's a free agent. Ramon Loreno is a free agent. Our boy Witt is a free agent. Charlie Morton's hitting free agency. Gio Urshela's hitting free agency. AJ Minter's hitting free agency. And Luke Jackson. So they've got a lot of people hitting free agency. And so far have only notable acquisition is Brian De La Cruz. Who's an
I saw a rumor that said we're going to bring Witt back.
Oh, fucking Christ.
Yeah. Only because
vibes.
Well, yeah, but basically because we fell off the face of the earth after we lost him, so they think that he's a good clubhouse guy, and that was the reason why.
No, whoever. No. If Whit Merrifield leaving us was the fucking problem,
yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go be an Angels fan with Travis d'Arnaud. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Oh, we'll bring back Witt on like a nice little $5 million deal just to boost morale. Meanwhile, Stubbs isn't a DJ anymore because that vibe fucking sucked. Anyway, Marlins traded away Jake Berger. At MLB.com, it says free agents, none. Notable acquisitions, none. It's just a notable subtraction of Jake Berger at first and third. So the Marlins have Marlined. They're doing what the Mets used to do, so that's crazy.
Which, if you're going back to what I said about the MLBPA having that minimum requirement, who the fuck are they paying?
They're getting ready to sign Corbin Burns to a massive fucking deal.
Yeah, there's nobody on that team that is worth a damn. So who are they paying?
It's going to be Corbin, and that fucker's going to be stuck there until they get traded.
Sixto Sanchez, who is rehabbing for the last 6 years.
They're going to go sign Corbin and be like, hey, we're just going to... I know it's March 30th. I know it's opening day. He's on the trade block. Who wants him? We need some prospects. Derek Jeter left us. We don't know what to do.
Oh, my God.
Now go over to the Mets. So if you're a Mets fan, as much as I hate you, Dane, you're having a fun offseason. So the notable free agents, damn near the whole fucking team, Pete Alonso, Harrison Bader, Shintaro Fujinami, Jose Iglesias, Sean Mania, JD Martinez, Phil Maton, Adam Otavia, Jose Quintana, Brooks Raley, Drew Smith, Rink Stanek, Jesse Winker, and Alex Young. They're all free agents. Now, on the fun part, the notable acquisitions. I don't know if you've heard of this gentleman, Juan Soto, on a 15-year deal for the price of the Dominican Republic. Literally, any other team could have bought the island of the Dominican Republic. Steve Cohen just bought one.
It's not deferred, though.
It's not deferred.
That's the best part. Thank you, Steve Cohen.
But he also put in a shit ton of escape clauses. So it's like watching the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, and then each year they made up some bullshit fine print. And that's how they kept making sequels and TV shows. That's what Steve Cohen did with the Juan Soto deal, so he'll be a Yankee in 5 years. They signed Clay Holmes to a 3-year deal. They signed Frankie Montas to a 2-year deal. They traded with the Rays for Jose Siri for the outfield. They signed our boy Dylan Covey to a 1-year deal. I'm sure that fucker's going to get cut soon because they just don't know what they're doing. They're just signing what they can. Justin Hagenman were 1-year deal, and infielder Jared Young on a 1-year deal. Notable subtractions, and we talked about this earlier, Severino went to the Athletics. The fuck? They're not even 2 hours away from us, and they have just said, you know what? We went to the NLCS, flip the fucking script.
Yeah. They're last year was supposed to be or this past year was supposed to be a full rebuild. That's why they got rid of Verlander. That's why they get rid of Scherzer. That's why they got rid of all these players.
They're goddamn liars.
The NLCS.
They're goddamn liars. He told you that they were going to rebuild, and by rebuild he meant I just took out another loan. I'm going to take out a loan.
He's probably sold a yacht, or probably sold the Dominican Republic to buy
the Queenstown Charter now includes the Dominican Republic.
Yeah,
for a small price of $800 million. Jesus,
it's got to be nice to be able to have that, not even as a person to have that kind of money, but as an owner to be like, you know what, dude? I want Verlander. I'm going to get Verlander. I'm going to send him away and still pay him. I want Scherzer. I'm going to still pay him, send him away. And I want Soto now, and I'm going to give him almost $1 billion. And that's still chump change to me. That's like $5.
Yeah, and the crazy, again, I could see why he did it. I don't think he plays all 15 years there. If he gets to he's going to get to 5. He's going to test free agency again, try to get 60 to 70 million a year, because he'll be what? I'm sure he'll color on his piece of paper that he's still 26 or whatever.
I'm going to say, Soto's like 40 already right now.
Yeah, but actually, he's already starting to let himself go. So as long as he gets that beer gut under fucking control, he's going to test that market in 5 years. Basically, he's going to see how the next 5 years go, and either he's going to laugh and take the contract to 15, or he's going to hit the market, be a Yankee for double the price.
Yep.
Which is infuriating as you're a Phillies fan stuck with a leadoff who's the same size and doesn't hit as good. And fields worse somehow.
I've been constantly checking the updates because there's always somebody that is looking better for the season coming up. Every year there's always somebody better. Last year it was Johan Rojas, who got put on 15 pounds of muscle.
And to be nice, Schwarber dropped weight. He was working on speed and working on his small ball game and hitting the opposite field. He did try to improve, and his stats did show a better batting average. This is the only nice thing I'm going to say about him, but get the fuck out of the leadoff.
And this year has been, and last year they also showed Taijuan Walker too, allegedly working out nonstop. That didn't help.
That bitch got some B-roll from previous years.
It's kind of like Ben Simmons with basketball. Every single offseason, all you saw was him shooting threes and shooting free throws, and then when he got into the game, he blew. That's Taijuan Walker. We have to have that Ben Simmons in our city, and Taijuan Walker, unfortunately, is that guy. But they are saying Alvarado now has lost a lot of weight and looks amazing for what he's been. So every year, somebody is being called best shape of their life and about to step up. This year, it's Alvarado. And I think it's his contract year.
So it makes sense.
Doing amazing.
That makes sense. Although I don't care how thin you get, motherfucker, find the strike zone. That was your problem. It wasn't your weight. Nobody ever called you fat. I was like, oh, look at this fat fuck going out to the mound. It was find the fucking strike zone, you motherfucker. But Venezuela's issues cooled off, so he shouldn't be all fucking worked up next year. Right? I would hope. But all those Ukrainian players and the ones that are going to get deported. And how funny would that be if Juan Soto gets deported after signing a 15-year deal? Because Trump's like, I don't understand. He doesn't speak good English, so he's got to go. The league's gonna be running a little bit light this year because fuck it. You like tacos, you're out.
Ranger Suarez just signed with Scott Boras, got a new agent. So that's not great for us. So
And
that
Frosted.
means he's in a contract year, and so he probably kicked his family back to their native land, so he can look amazing again.
Ranger can
So
fuck off.
yeah, it's not great, but it's amazing the attitude everyone has towards Ranger. Like everyone loved him last year, year before, the beginning of this year, before he got hurt and before his family came, and he was phenomenal. Everyone loved him. He was the best thing ever. He was Cy Young uh,
He was
on
pitching
a
.98, wasn't he?
huh?
He was pitching like a .98
Oh
ERA
yeah,
up until
yeah,
his family showed up or whatever.
yeah.
I mean, you blame it on the family, but like something happened.
He got injured because his family came and he was banging too much.
He
That
picked up
was
his
the
kid for the
issue.
first time.
Yeah, that was the issue. Like your wife comes around and you haven't seen her in like a year, and you're like, time to make up for past year. And he banged it out a little too much. He thought about Cole Hamels, little Peter. It became.
It's that, or his wife came around and found out he was still fucking around for a year, and then she threw hands, and because they didn't want another Herrera situation, but like reversed.
And just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, bad back. Yeah, it's because he took a bat to the fucking back when she found out what he was doing with those frosted fucking tips, because they were gone when she showed up. Mommy showed up, and all of a sudden he looked professional. So it's not like, maybe it was, you're saying he's like having a fun time. Maybe he was having a bad time. Maybe he was having the opposite of Bohm. He was fucking around. We saw how he danced. We saw he liked the booze a little bit hard in the postseasons.
That he did.
Maybe the sheriff came to town. Party was over, Ranger.
Put a kibosh on having fun.
Yeah. Oh, you and them Phillies skanks. Show's over. Mommy's home.
So everyone in the league has been doing things. We've been doing things for Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
We have done more than the Nationals. You didn't let me get to those guys.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
The Nationals have Jake Barnes, Patrick Corbin, Kyle Finnegan, Joey Gallo, and Trevor Williams hitting the free agency market. And their notable acquisitions and notable subtractions, 0. They haven't done shit.
Didn't Joey Gallo retire? And didn't Patrick Corbin retire too?
Probably. That's probably why it's not a notable subtraction.
Yeah, I think they both retired.
And then, of course, our free agents are Estevez, the lovable Austin Hayes, Jeff Hoffman, and bad back Spencer Turnbull. So the acquisition, the only one we've done is Jordan Romero.
You say Trevor Hoffman?
No, I said Jeff Hoffman.
Oh, I said Trevor.
The ever lovable Austin Hayes, and then I rolled into Jeff Hoffman.
Okay.
And then bad back Spencer Turnbull.
Turnbull's coming back. I think you're gonna bring back Hoffman. I think you're gonna bring back Estevez, and I think you're gonna sign Santander, and that's gonna be your off season, and you better like it no matter what.
As much as I would love Hoffman back, I think a team will swoop in and offer him a starter position, whereas we won't. I do think we might get Estevez back, because I haven't heard shit on the Estevez market.
No, what we've heard about Tanner Scott too, that we're in on him, and he seems to be a big fan of us. Okay.
That's fine. I don't, as much as I would love Jeff Hoffman back, I don't think he comes back, just because if he has starter aspirations, there will be a team out there that offers him that.
Yeah.
Whereas we won't, because we technically have 5 starters. We don't need a 6th one in the contention that isn't going to be... It could be another Walker situation.
But I think what you do is you give him the opportunity to be the starter with Painter. Painter has to piggyback off somebody. Painter can't throw 30 games.
I don't want to be that guy, but it's probably going to be Walker.
He can't throw 5 games.
I don't want him on the fucking team. I want him fucking fired. You just clearly this team has, if they have shown anything this offseason, is that they can do no wrong by who they've signed. And that is a big fucking bullet to bite if you go, I messed up on this one, I got to fire him. No, they're going to be like, oh, he's improved, and he can platoon with Painter until Painter's ready. That's what's going to be the conversation for him.
Well,
the ideal platoon would be Painter and Ranger.
Every 10th day is going to be rough.
At this point, it's going to be like every, 10th and 9th day, because as Ranger will probably start off hot again, and then Ranger just can't go the distance. It's unfortunate, but he has not proven yet that he can go the distance.
No. He's kind of seemed like he seems like your perfect bullpen arm.
Yeah. Unless it could be, again, a topper issue. Ranger doesn't pitch more than 5. I don't care how well he's fucking doing. No complete games for Ranger.
Yeah.
You Chris Sale his ass, and then he's Cy Young. Yeah, fuck you, Chris Sale. I didn't forget.
Yeah, that could be an option.
But you also have to have a strong bullpen at that point. And I think we have a decent bullpen with Strom. If Alvarado is bouncing back, Kerkering shows promise. If Romano has a bounce back year, you got your closer. We need probably one more piece, and I don't know if that piece is going to be Estevez or Hoffman,
or a Tanner Scott,
All right, you got rid of Marte, or was that the guy's name?
Yeah, Junior Marte.
You got rid of him. You're telling me that you did that so you can bring in a $20 million closer, or 20? Not if you're going to guarantee he's the closer, because even when we've signed closers, even when we've traded for closers, it's still a committee.
They're not the closer.
No, we went and got Estevez, who was the clear closer for the Angels, and went, we're still gonna put Hoffman and Strom in sometimes. Because fuck, having a plan.
They live and die by you can't pitch more than 3 days in a row, no matter if the guy is willing to do it or not. It's done and over with. And
they pitch matchups.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that does them in, because if you keep pitching matchups, eventually when you're playing the Mets and the Braves 100 fucking times a year, they're going to pick up on the matchups and know how Strom throws, because you see Strom 20 times a year. All right, he's going to challenge me every fucking time. Like, that's what Matt Strom does. I've watched his tape. He's going to throw it down the middle. I just need to time it right. And they're going to get lucky. And unfortunately, at the end of the year, they kept getting lucky off of them.
Side note, your Celsius that you drink, doesn't Steve Cohen own it?
God damn it. And Juan Soto's a spokesman. So, are you saying that I got to go to the Mets?
You're a Mets fan.
Jersey, what fucking terrible thing do they have? Jersey OMGs?
Huh? Grimace? Grimace?
The Jersey butt plugs. This week we're going to talk about how we're going to fuck our team in the ass. Sign the hottest free agents to do nothing with them. So I know since we're a Mets podcast. Do you think Pete Alonso goes back to them?
I don't. I think he's going to go to the Yankees, or it's going to be Christian Walker. One of those two are going to go to the Yankees because they need a first baseman desperately.
Do they, now that they have Bellinger?
Bellinger, they already said, is going to be their center fielder. They're moving Judge back to right field.
But what if they went and got another center fielder? Because aren't they still in the conversation for Santander?
They're in the conversation with everything.
I think
by the Yankees, they actually want to win.
No, I get that, and I think by adding Bellinger, now they got a little bit of flexibility that they don't need to sign a polar bear or whatever clever nickname they have for Walker.
Average Joe.
Was that?
I said he's an average Joe because that's his nickname, considering he doesn't say or do anything.
Well, I feel like both of them are going to demand kind of heavy contracts, and if they can get a cheaper outfielder, and Bellinger can play first, I think they got a little bit more wiggle room.
Center field. I don't think they're going to do anything else after that.
Okay, well, I just think they got more wiggle room than they previously had. Like if they lost out on that Bellinger deal, yeah, they're signing the Polar Bear or Walker definitely.
Yeah.
I think now they can have conversations of like, can we get a better outfielder? So like,
But there's been a rumor that we could be getting Alonso too, and
how? Why?
we would put Bryce back in right field. We would move Casty to left field, and we would have Marsh be our everyday center fielder or platoon because we love that with Rojas.
I don't hate that outfield, but why now? Was Bryce not ready to come back? Here's the thing. Bryce started doing this stupid fucky thing during the postseason where he kept shaking his arm like, it might be acting up. Do we put him back out there and he needs a fucking surgery again? Not that we make many plays from there with Casty anyway. I'm not saying Casty's a terrible defender, but like we're not gunning people out from home right field most of the time anyway.
He did the playoff game.
2 years ago.
That. He saved that.
No, I love him. He's my boy. But I don't think that defensively as a right fielder, it's not as intense as like it should be when it comes to us.
It would be a very nice outfield, but I agree with what you're saying defensively wise, and also with the fact that Harper could still potentially be injured.
He started pulling that bullshit. And I don't know, it's unfair because he has played through injuries before. But I think that aggressiveness might be catching up to him. And you're going to go put a little bit more strain on him by making him throw it in from the outfield.
Yeah, that's why I said it's just a rumor. I don't think there's any smoke to that fire. So I think it's just.
I feel like if they were like, it kind of makes sense. Only for the fact that maybe, hey, we're going to play first base this year because we're not 100% sure your arm is back, and maybe he did something in the offseason or he saw doctors then went, look, you can go play right field again if they want to upgrade with a bat. And then you could, as much as I would fucking hate cheering for the man, you could go after Pete Alonso, and that would be you can keep Schwarber at leadoff then at that point because
then you have Polar Bear getting 50 home runs in the 4th spot.
Yeah, you got the 2 top home run derby guys in the last like 10 years.
But you're trying to trade a whiny baby in Bohm and bringing in a bigger whiny baby in Alonso. So
that'd be fun to watch him fight across the diamond. Like the first time Bohm pegs it at his big ass fucking head. And then he fucking misses it.
God, man.
I would watch that. I would probably get seats behind the dugout to watch that.
Dude, the fucking desperation that I'm feeling, wanting.
I don't feel so. I think this bleak outlook of the offseason is kind of where we were in 2022. And then we made those signings of Schwarber and Casty, and even then, I didn't know them very well. Like I didn't care that they signed him. I thought it was crazy that they signed him for whatever they signed him for at the time, but I didn't expect playoffs.
I didn't expect.
I didn't expect World Series periods.
Yeah, I didn't expect us to go insane. Like I was so damn excited that we got Schwarber, and then I was beyond shocked that we got Castellanos because we're in on both of them. And they kept on saying we're in on both of them. And then they said, we announced the deal with Schwarber. And I was like, oh, well, see ya, Casty. And then all of a sudden we signed Casty too. We're like, holy shit, okay.
And maybe we'll have that. I mean, typically, except for the Trey Turner signing, which was obvious. Like, that deal was pretty much done in the 2022 season. It was just more of when are you going to sign it, not if you're going to sign it. And I think an important note people forget, too, is we signed the hottest pitching free agent. Like, we got to get that out there. Like, everybody's like, oh, not doing shit. We signed Zach Wheeler in March. And I know it's a what have you done for me lately industry when it comes to the offseason. But just imagine what we would have had to fucking do if he hit that market and the fucking contract that Max Fried got. And you had to compete with that with Zach Wheeler. Because Zach Wheeler should have been the Cy Young. And he would have been available to talk to whoever. And then the Yankees, I'm sure the Mets would have had an awkward fucking call with him.
Oh, Zach Wheeler would have wanted like 500 million.
Yeah, so I mean, you got that deal done, and I think it gets overshadowed because it was done so early on the extension talk. To sign both Nola and Wheeler to longer deals within a 6-month span last year is pretty impressive. Not as exciting because they're already on the team, so it's like, oh, we don't get a New Jersey.
Yeah.
But that was huge because I would not have wanted to compete with that in the free agency because even if the Mets threw all the money in the world at him and Wheeler had some kind of like fuck him attitude, the Yankees could have made a good pitch for him. I'm sure the Dodgers would have went fucking for him. And it would have been ugly. Even we got a good deal there, as even though he's the most, was he 42 million, like the highest paid pitcher in baseball right now.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a big signing. You and I have talked about it on different episodes. I think JT gets that extension just because we're not ready for a new catcher yet, and he will be the best catcher on the free market. So if that deal happens in March or April, and we're bitching next offseason that like, oh, we haven't done anything, like you got to remember we re-signed JT and it was the best catching option available at the time.
Yeah, I think that's what your plan should be, just for the couple of years until Eduardo Tate is ready, unless you trade him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you trade him, you have nothing in the minors.
Yeah, you're screwed. Especially, I just got a autographed ball from Logan O'Hoppe. So if you can get him back, I'll bring Logan back. Come on, Angels. If you're listening, let's make a trade. I got some Twinkies and a cheesesteak for you, for a catcher.
We'll trade you. We'll go and how about we'll get Trout and O'Hoppe back.
No, I will trade you to get O'Hoppe back, and you can keep Trout. Just because, fuck that guy. I don't need another player to be aggravated about when I've got plenty of to be aggravated about now.
Hey, just imagine he plays 30 games, but the 30 games are at the end of the year.
Yeah, those are the 30 home run games that Kyle Schwarber will have too, which would have mean no fucking difference that he played.
Listen, Schwarber's middle, Bryce Harper's beginning, Trout is end.
Listen here, WWE.
World Series, bro.
Listen here, WWE. Just because you understand that players don't have to go 300 days a year doesn't mean the MLB understands that yet. Where you can have Nakamura take 6 months off and then show back up and be a U.S. champion. You can't just do that in MLB. They got to play all 162. But I think one of the last couple conversations we want to have, what do we do? Where are we going? Are we done? I'll put out my predictions again. We signed JT to an extension. I still think we're in the running for Santander, so I would be shocked if we signed him on maybe a short-term deal or like a 3 or 4 year deal. And I think we get a Lorenzen-esque pitcher, so like a C-level, D-level starter, just to compete for it with the acknowledgement of you might be in the bullpen or splitting duties with someone like a Painter or Suarez.
Go get Maton.
Phil?
Sign him. Phil Maton, the pitcher, not Nick Maton.
We can get Nick. I think he's out there. Still available.
Yeah, I think they cut him too.
Put him on the Pigs.
So go get Maton. Get Santander. I want Tanner Scott.
I didn't ask what you wanted. I wanted to be realistic.
And
Corbin Burns.
and Corbin Burns. 100%. No, I think the realistic options are really, I think Tanner Scott is going to come here. I think that's basically all done and said for. They just have to, I don't know, agree on dollar signs and all that good stuff.
He's a free agent, right? He's not like one of these guys we're trying to trade for. Okay.
No. Free agent.
I'll give you that. I do think you're either going to get a Tanner Scott, Estevez, or Hoffman. You're getting one of the three. Yeah. You're not getting 2 of the 3. You're not getting 3 of the 3. You're getting 1 of the 3.
But you get Tanner Scott. You get Maton. You know, he's a good reliever, so I think you pick up that. And
his brother's not in the league to piss him off anymore.
And so he doesn't have to punch a locker. But basically he'll replace the not as well, but at least he'll replace the production that you got from Hoffman. So
I think out of those three, Hoffman is the least likely. If he's really adamant about being a starter, his career as a Philly is over.
Yeah, agreed. They keep on saying lately though that he's willing to come back here. So I don't know. I don't know if his market is just not there as a starter.
I don't see how it could be. Man only pitched an inning a game, maybe an inning and a third. Like
Yeah,
he did not show any signs of longevity in a single game.
I think there was one game that I think he pitched 3 innings, and that third inning did not go well.
Which that's probably one of those fucking Walker games where Walker was out in like the first or second inning and he had to.
Yeah. So I think you get those three. And I think Santander, Maton, and Scott. I think if you get those three, I would be happy.
I wouldn't think the world is. Yeah, I wouldn't think the world's falling if that's what you walked away in this offseason. And Romano has a bounce back year. If Romano has a bounce back year, there's a good offseason.
Like I'm not going to go out and buy season tickets because of those three players that you got, but at least I'm going to know that you improved to an extent of where you're at.
You wouldn't buy season tickets? I did, off a Nola extension. Come on. Yeah. And I hate that fucking five-head. You've heard me say how much I hate that guy, and I went and bought season tickets like the day after he signed. I had to pay for that contract.
Like, if somehow you ended up getting, like, a Luis Arias, I think then it would be my buying a season ticket kind of thing, because I know that you're committed to having a player that is actually going to play small ball and going to get more hits.
He's a trade, though. He's not a free agent.
Oh, he's a free agent.
Is he?
He's a free agent.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
Okay. So
because he's playing on like 6 different teams.
That's why it's very hard to keep up with him.
Yeah. Every team that he's been on, he's been the freaking hit leader for the year.
Well, let's do an out of nowhere signing that you would think would have. Is it Arias?
Oh, yeah.
It would be your out of nowhere.
100%. Because then all of a sudden you're like, what the hell is going on? And you'd probably move like Stott to short and Trey Turner. Like it'd be all sorts of craziness because Arias is your second baseman. So it'd be insanity that would happen with the lineup, and I think Thompson would explode because he can't figure it out. But
that's fair.
Yeah,
I would go with the. Go ahead.
Or Corbin Burns.
That is probably, to me, that was going to be mine.
Oh shit! Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's not so much of like, oh, it's good to what like Arias would do to the roster. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do now that we have like 2 quality second Gold Glove basemen? It's not as a Gold Glover. I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Yep.
It's more so of like, holy shit, how did you swing that?
Yeah.
Given that you have adamantly said that, like, we could go over the third threshold, but we don't want to. You're gonna to get him. You're probably way over it.
Yep. Unless you defer everything.
And the holy shit moment is, I want to be in that locker room when he has to talk to Wheeler. Like, hey, buddy. And Wheeler goes, yeah, buddy. And who's opening day?
Yeah, true. It could be pure chaos, and I would like to sit in on that.
Would it be the Cy Young Award winner or the 2-time robbed Cy Young Award winner?
It'd be Nola.
I got it, guys. I got it. Oh, never mind. Suarez frosted his tips. Get out there, buddy. Mommy left. Mommy left. It's party time again. Cole Hamels will finally get the fucking hat tip. That's what he signed.
Oh, man.
But I think we both hit the nail on the head. You're going to get a Santander as an outfielder. If not, you probably get a fucking Witt signing again, that you put that voodoo on us. I do think I'm going to still stick with that Lorenzen type starting pitcher that can easily go to the bullpen, probably understands that he would have to end up at the bullpen if he didn't beat out the shit we have floating around the fifth. And then one of the 3 you mentioned for the bullpen. I honestly, if the Hoffman starter talk has calmed down, I think it's him because everybody loves a family reunion. If that didn't calm down, I think it's Estevez over Scott.
It seems like it has. A lot of beat reporters have said that Hoffman is willing to come back to the Phillies in the bullpen role. So I kind of think that like he went out there and was like, "Yo, I'm a starter," and they're like, "Yo, you're not."
Fuck you, man.
Yeah.
We got that. So how many bullpen positions we have open? Just 2? Because we brought in Romano to, we'll just say, replaced either Estevez or Hoffman. And then you let Marte go.
Yeah, so you got 2 left.
Okay. So I think maybe a holy shit moment is if you sign 2 of those 3. And not get a starter.
Would you even sign Tanner Scott considering he's a left-hander? Probably and you not. Have Alvarado and you have potential Kirkering's right.
Yeah. And Jordan's right.
Yes.
And then Estevez and Hoffman would be right.
Yeah. Then you would get Tanner and he would be your second lefty. Okay.
Is Strom a lefty?
Shit, I can't remember. No, he's right.
Maybe it is Tanner. You don't want to load up on fucking rights.
Yeah.
Think of that.
But yeah, you get if you get Tanner, I think your bullpen improves by a lot, and I'd be pretty damn excited about that.
He actually makes the most sense, given how many right-handers we now have in this fucking bullpen.
Yeah.
He throws left, so Strom's a lefty.
Okay.
So your lefties are Strom and Alvarado. Okay. Your righties are currently Romano, Kirkering. Is that our bullpen?
No, there's got to be others.
I mean, technically, if we just say Estevez and Hoffman, that's 6. Who the fuck is our bullpen? We should be better Phillies fans.
Yeah, that was bad.
Well, it's in our defense. How many fucking people have been rotated through the bullpen because we didn't know what the fuck to do with
Strom, Alvarado, Romano, Kirkering, Tanner Banks.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Rios.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him too. I have his autograph. And Tyler Gilbert.
So he's a lefty too.
He's a lefty. Banks a lefty.
Tanner Banks is a lefty. He bats right and throws lefty.
Okay, so we got
Strom, Alvarado, Banks, and Gilbert, all lefty.
We got a pretty good balance right now.
But I don't think Gilbert is going to make the team. He's probably going to end up in AAA.
I could see that. And he's what, left? I just looked at it and I shut it off.
It's interesting that on the MLB depth chart, they have Alec Bohm under first base and third base.
That's because every time Bryce needed a day off, he went over there.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me. They have Weston Wilson on like 6 different spots.
He plays everything, man. They have him at second base? When did he play second this year?
I think there was 1 game.
But to your point, right now we're 4 lefties, 3 righties officially signed to the team.
So we're not going to get Tanner Scott then. Throw that out. Unless you get rid of Tyler Gilbert.
Which is a high probability. So Tanner Scott, Jeff Hoffman, or Tanner Scott and Estevez does seem like a likely sign. Could be a likely signing. 1 more right, 1 more left. I don't think you get both righties back.
No.
Because there's
I wouldn't want Estevez back.
I know you don't like him. I love his Kamea wave. If you're a showman, at some point you do sell that to me a little bit. Unless you're like a showman for another team, then you can go fuck off. Yeah. Like that Soto shuffle. It's gay. Who shakes their ass like that without inviting people on? It's like the definition of, hey, look at my butt. Like, you want balls to your ass. That is what you're saying.
Were you at a game for Estevez for his entrance?
No.
No.
I mean, I may have been at a game he pitched, but I was not there by the time he came out.
Okay, so you never saw the entrance that they had.
Would have been
and everything.
If they went to the postseason. Like, if I got to go to a fucking game. Would have been. Fucking bastard. I do think, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. We're going to will things together. I think I'm going to be given game 1 of every postseason game this year after the conversation I had. Or I'm going to get game 5 and 7 of every fucking series after the conversation I had.
Or you're not going to get any games.
Yeah, they just completely missed the fucking playoffs. And then I'm going to have the conversation of like, I'm out. Because this is the second year in a fucking row that like, oh, you get early access to postseason. Did me fuck all.
Yeah.
Had better luck when it was a goddamn lottery. Anyway, last bit of conversation I want to talk to you about is Roki Sasaki.
My man.
So,
no shot we're getting him. My man.
But let's just say that throws a monkey wrench into fucking things. Like, are we not doing anything because we're waiting on him and we're really going to push and give him the Yamamoto fucking treatment just to get fucked over by a California team?
Well, you have to wait until January 15th.
Yeah, so this is going to be a very painful month for you where they don't do shit all for pitching.
But like, apparently he wants to go to a small market team. He doesn't want to do, because he doesn't want the pressure that comes with like the Dodgers and Angels and stuff like that.
This is a guy who knows he's just average. He is prepping the league of like, yo, I know you're making a big deal about me, but I'm not a big fucking deal.
I'm not that good.
I will go play in Sacramento, okay?
Yeah, he wants to go. He apparently he had, I don't know if he had it or has it, but I know I saw that he was having a Zoom call with the White Sox.
That totally tracks then. Like, if they're going to be putting more pressure on the Cubs than the fucking White Sox at this moment in time.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. I mean, that's mad respect. Like, that's just the guy coming and saying, look, you guys are way too fucking mean in Philly, and I'm going to be exactly, like, I'm going to be upfront with you. I will cry if you fucking boo me once. Nobody wants to see a Japanese guy cry. Okay?
Do they cry? I've never seen one cry.
You haven't watched enough Godzilla movies.
They yell. They don't cry.
If Mothra shows up, they're all fucking weeping. Something about that butterfly that like brings tears to their eyes or some shit.
But listen, every year, all I want is the top Asian player on my team. That's all I want. That's all I want. So
diversity.
Yeah, he is the top Asian player out there right now, and I desperately want him. And apparently, there's a relief pitcher too. So how about a 2-for-1? We bring them both. They can be friends. They can start building this, the Asian flair down in Citizens Bank Park.
I feel like to get Sasaki, the note that I kept hearing is he wants to play on a team that has other Japanese players. Not us. We are a very white team. We have said this, or I at least pointed this out several fucking times, that we just seem to cut the darkest players. I mean, look at it. This offseason, one of the first cuts we made was Marte. I'm not calling them racists, but clearly they have a paint swash, and they go...
Yeah. It said Family Guy paint swash. Good, not good.
Yeah. I don't see if you're seriously saying he has no interest in a large market team, this is definitely not the market for him. I wouldn't even call us one of the largest markets. Like, we're probably top 5, but we're number 1 and don't fuck around.
Yeah, I think, and because he can't, or not he, but his agent came out and said that he doesn't want to play. He doesn't necessarily want to be on the West Coast. He'll go anywhere else, but then another beat reporter came out and said that they've heard from good sources that he does not want to be on a major market team.
So he's going to be on the Athletics.
Or he's going to be on the Dodgers and he's just lying. And the deal's already done.
Money might talk better, but they can only give him so much, right? Like, there's a cap on how much they can give him.
I think he's at. I think the Dodgers are at like 4,000 or 5,000. We have 6 or million. I'm sorry. Million.
Yeah. We should have a lot because we don't fucking sign anybody.
It's pretty crazy that our international pool money is so low. I don't know why.
We blow it in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at half of... Dude, we have a fucking interpreter on staff that has to cycle through half our team.
Yeah, that is true.
Even though we all know they speak English.
And we have a bunch of Acuna's cousins in our team too.
We have a WWE fan that heard something about Bloodline and went, "Yep, we're gonna get our own." we saw how well that pays off. I don't think we're gonna get them. It'd be cool.
No shot, and that's just because Dave is just not putting the right energy into that market.
I wouldn't even blame the Phillies on this one. If you're saying he wants small market and what was the other?
He wants small
he
wants
market, Japanese players on the team.
Yeah, he wants other Japanese players on the team. Like
it's going to be it's going to be a West Coast team because at least historically they prefer to be on the West Coast because it's easier travel. Same reason why Juan Soto was preferring to be on the East Coast is it's easier travel to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
As someone who was stuck in California last December and had to get to the Dominican Republic, it's a fucking nightmare. So I totally get it from a logistical standpoint.
He's going to have a private plane though, so
that's fair. It's still the travel days are still a fucking bitch. It's like 8 to 10 hours to get coast to coast to that type of shit.
With that, the Yankees told him that they're not going to give his family a suite. That's what he wanted in his deal. That he wanted a suite at the stadium for his family to be there, and the Yankees apparently balked at that idea and said, "No, you're not getting this. Like our Yankees stadium
is always at capacity."
Yeah, it's basically history, and you're not a part of it. So,
and Steve Cohen said, "Look, I'll just build a new part of the stadium for your family."
He's like, you can have it. You can have the first class tickets for your family to come back and forth. You can
we'll put a room in that fucking apple, so every time you hit a home run, your family will pop out and see the home run happening, and then we'll lower them back out when you're not batting.
Oh my god! But yeah, so the only way that you could potentially sign Sasaki is by getting another Japanese player, and there is that Cub that apparently is on the trade market. So you get him. He's an outfielder. Boom! You get both. You get your starter. You get your outfielder.
What do you give up to get the outfielder then, sir? Since the Cubs didn't want to, who weren't we going after somebody on the Cubs and they balked at the Bohm? It's Bohm and Casty.
I don't think the Cubs were in the running for us to give up Bohm and Casty.
Okay,
but hey, it hasn't worked with the other teams. Let's try that.
Well, I don't see them taking Casty because I think a lot of the reason they're unloading Bellinger and Suzuki was money, right?
They want Casty back.
They get Schwarber back. You want Schwarber back? We'll send him back with the mound too, where your team got no hit. We'll rip it out of the Cole Hamels shrine, send it back with him. So you remember that, and then we'll have Cole come pitch that game.
They want Casty back, man. They want him back.
No, you can't have him. He's mine.
But
that's legitimate. The only off-season move I want to happen is for him to not move. You could end the off-season, and if Cassie doesn't move, it's successful, in my opinion. It's a terrible opinion, but it's my opinion.
I think like what you're saying is accurate. With there's going to be no signings and there's going to be no trades until after that 15th, and not only because of that, like that player coming potentially signing, but I just think they want to get through the holidays now because it's so close. I think nothing is going to happen.
And that's why we're going on hiatus, so we can come back and give you more Phanatic focuses afterwards. And then hopefully after January 15th, we can start talking a little bit more of the offseason. If not, we'll start getting ready for the team that we have because spring training will be right around the corner.
And is one of the focuses going to be Kruk? And is he going to be on the episode himself? I don't know. You got to tune in to find out.
Yeah. And we'll talk about Lieberthal and Abreu and Andrew Knapp. Like, we'll get Erik all fired up. just so when the postseason ends and we've done nothing, he comes in hot for the 2025 season. Like, yeah, let me tell you why this team sucks. It'll be a great back and forth.
Episode.
I didn't ruin this episode. I'm getting you fired up. You're gonna be fucking ready to go by February. Of like, hey, I just talked about 3 of the worst fucking Phillies that have ever been on this fucking team.
But we did so many fucking goddamn records.
Yeah, and here we are. We'll talk Papelbon too. So we talk about that lovely closing or save record. And then we'll go into our fucking February podcasts, and you'll be like, here's how mad I am at this team because we didn't fucking do anything in the offseason. Yay, pitchers and catchers are here. We're set in stone.
Yay!
I think it's a great way to, like, just torpedo you into a great season of just hot takes.
Listen, man.
Remember January when we talked about fucking Abreu and you were like, hey, we got to do this fucking episode and we didn't do shit to talk about in the offseason? And I got stuck doing these focuses because we didn't do shit?
Hey, new year, new me. Big fan of Abreu. Big fan of Nat. Big fan of Lieberthal.
I think what I'm looking forward to most is when we do the Phanatic focus of Romano next November. Hopefully not October. And we discussed how great of a signing that was and why we haven't extended this historical closer that is on par to take Jonathan Papelbon's record.
How he pulled the Alvarado and gave up a grand slam to Francisco Lindor.
Yeah, basically put on a tee for him. There you go. No, wasn't that Estevez?
Yes, but I still hate Alvarado too.
That's fair. This is what this is going to be the year of hate. Actually, if you're friends with me on Facebook, which all 500 of you should be listening, or 600, you are experiencing Sad Schwab's birthday. It's the year of the Sad Schwabs. The one year I Thanos'd everybody and dusted everybody. The year after I bought everybody a tree. Then I gave you all Stitch for a year, and this year it's Sad Schwabs, which is appropriate, and maybe why they lost in the postseason, because I did start it before they went into the postseason. So you're welcome.
I can't wait to see what 2025 is.
It'll probably be just like selling off pieces of Schwarber's contract. Like, hey, I bought all 600 pages of the contract. I will be selling you each an individual page of the contract for your birthday.
That sounds amazing.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week on the show. I'm glad we got to talk a little bit more of news-oriented episode. Like, I love doing the focuses because I learn about players. Like, I figured out why people hated Cole Hamels. And it wasn't his pretty dick. I also learned more about Jimmy Rollins. Like, and I understand why he is like the maybe the franchise player of that era. I always thought it was Utley, and then I realized, like, Rollins was there for 20 years, so it makes sense. So I do like doing the focuses, but I also like doing real-time news with you because I can make these beautiful jokes about Steve Cohen buying the Dominican Republic.
It's not as beautiful as knowing that the Angels and Athletics are doing more than the Phillies.
Oh, the Angels are going back to the postseason. Taking it all. Angels in the outfield. Call it now.
Dude, I'm just telling you just have to sit Trout for the first 120 games, and then he can play the final 42. It's fine. And then he'll make the playoffs, and they'll win the World Series.
Or just get that kid whose deadbeat dad said that he won't show back up in his life unless the Angels win the pennant to come to your games to see the Angels out there for you. He could put one next to Trout in the outfield, and Trout will never get hurt. It's a realistic plot, one that is viable for the Angels and should be played out. Just go grab a Make-A-Wish kid. Just make sure that Make-A-Wish kid can make it through the year. You don't want to get one that kind of expires before the All-Star break, because then you're in the Phillies situation and you're just not going to have a good postseason.
Jesus Christ.
This is why I like the live episodes, or the live-ish, and not about players, because I can just riff. We're talking about the Angels. You don't talk about the Angels when we're doing a focus on fucking Jimmy Rollins, that's for sure. Anyway, that's going to do it for us on the show. Erik, got anything to plug? You do. You have things to plug.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, tomorrow. And
which episode comes out tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Christmas.
Christmas. The Christmas episode comes out. I said Thanksgiving. I messed
Yeah.
up. I forgot which holiday. The Christmas episode drops tomorrow, and it is amazing.
Yeah. And then you're going to show back up in 2 weeks on the New Year's
New
resolution.
Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
And I like that my wife texted you asking you what I wanted for Christmas. You said I have no idea.
Did you say anything on the podcast? I know I did it to...
I did.
Oh, fuck. Well, there you go. At least it comes out before Christmas and not the day after Christmas, so she can listen to that and hear it, because I'm not going to... I know the other panelist doesn't listen to the show. I went out and bought the thing she said. I went right to Amazon after she went to bed that night and went, yep. So she said that on the podcast. I ordered that Lego set. So...
Thanks for paying attention to me. But yeah, I got the Christmas episode coming out. I got the New Year's resolution episode coming out. # New Year, New Me.
Nice.
It's going to be fantastic, man. Finally.
Look at
this
you.
guy has stuff to plug.
You're going to be the content creator of the year. You've second most content out of BPP. 22 episodes of this.
Awards.
Yeah, 22 episodes of this. Go for. 1 episode of the weekly other show we do. I can't fucking think. The weekly protocol that drops every Thursday.
And I'm Darth Maul. You can't be any better than that. Game-a-thon
poster. I don't know why I can't talk at the end. I was spitting some nice jokes in the middle of this episode, flawless delivery, and now here I am trying to do plugs where I need you to listen to my other stuff, and I'm just butchering it. So go watch Game of Thrones on HBO Max. That's clearly where my mind's at. The weekly protocol drops every Thursday. Like he said, he'll be on tomorrow's episode for Christmas. The week after, we'll be talking about New Year's Eve and New Year's Eve plans with, I believe, Frank and Jarrett. And then the week after that, you're back again with Jarrett to talk New Year's resolutions. So,
and that was a lively bunch.
It was.
Jared takes the energy so much up. So combine you and him. Holy shit, is that a great episode?
I want to apologize for last week's episode. We did PAX Unplugged coverage. And I love the kids to death. I'm glad they went to the convention with me. Junior talked so low. You didn't hear a fucking thing he said. And I hate board games. So I'm the wrong representative to send to PAX Unplugged. But we're back with Christmas. I've got some plans for the buffer segment with Doug Deciphers. Went out and bought that motherfucker a Santa outfit. We'll see what we do with that. And then, we're going to roll into the new year with bigger, better things, talking new podcasts. Frank and I got something we're trying to work on. Yours truly will be making a return to the stage at For the Win Productions down in Bridgeton in February. I believe I'm in 2 one-act plays as of right now, maybe a third. Not something I can plug. Oh, I guess I could plug. Sign up for Defford Soccer Association's rec program. This guy is on the board. I don't know if that's a good thing to advertise on this show after all the jokes I've made, but we're a very inclusive program. And I'm just a trustee. I'm not the actual director. The director is much smarter and has better control on me than Erik does. So,
yeah, zero control, because I love when things go off the rails.
He lets me free roam it. She will be like, hey, there's kids. And I go, oh, hey, that's a great fucking point. I should probably not do that. So, yeah, I'm part of that, too. Busy year in 2025. Thank you for all the memories and magic of our Jersey Phanatics series, our longest-running program here at BPP currently. Tyler may be back from assignment. His assignment was 18 to life on this very intensive project, which I get.
He's currently in the Amazon trying to find a cure to cancer.
As well as a closer for the Phillies, to tie it back in. So, like I said, check out everything on basementprotocolproductions.com, facebook.com/Basement Protocol Productions for updates. We have a Twitter, the BPP Official. Our Instagram is the BPP Official. We're not on Blue Sky. I'm barely on Blue Sky. And then the Game-a-thon is in April, the 25th to 27th. And as soon, I'm talking like December 26th, 12:01 a.m., you motherfuckers are going to get spammed. Come donate. I'm giving you a pass because the economy's tough and inflation sucks and your guy's coming in a few months and he's going to make it tougher. But I'm going to fucking hammer you with a GoFundMe because one of the programs we're working for is probably on that fucking chopping block with the fucking guy who launches penises into space and that Indian that's on cocaine. So I want to make sure the Deptford Township High School drama department is nicely funded so you can get lovely people like me or maybe your next president, because clearly you love characters and that's what you voted for, was a fucking character. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this show. 2025 will be big. We have a lot of projects. I'll do a slight teaser. Am I the asshole? And yeah, that's
off the rails. This is what we do on the Fanatic.
We said goodbye 10 minutes ago, and we're still fucking saying goodbye. So, fuck it. For the few, for the proud, and for the Dace-tacular. Ring that bell, Erik!
Ding, 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 ding.
We'll see you next time, Basement Dwellers.
Bye-bye.
Or Happy New Year. Yeah, that's a big thing. Fuck it. We're done for 2024. Where's the fucking off button?